Pictures up.
Last looks. Rolling.
And action.
Welcome to the Last Looks podcast, Wakana.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I appreciate your time. Now, I want you to finish this sentence for me, okay?
Sure.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Wakana, and when she grew up, she wanted to be...
What I wanted to be? Oh,
Yeah.
I wanted to be a florist.
You did?
Yeah.
I think I've had moments of wanting to do that too. So I feel like a few hair and makeup people kind of, are drawn to the florist side of things as well. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what's the first kind of memory that you can remember of like thinking, oh, that's a job, I might want to do that?
I think there was a florist in our neighborhood, and then every time I went past, and it was just like a brings you up like a different vibe. Just takes you away from like everyday life, and then you just kind of be like kind of like a daydreaming state. So, and then there was a woman that she was working, and then like she smelled good, and then she was very pretty, and then I just want to be like her. So
Yeah.
I think that I looked back when I went back to Japan. I originally come from Japan, and then I've just gone through my in the garage and then tried to clear up all the stuff, and then I found all this like a childhood memories, and then I think at 5 years old me wanted to be a florist, and I remember that I wrote it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so where does that shift happen? So you're thinking florist, and then what's kind of the journey from there, like getting into high school and all that type of stuff?
So to be honest, I didn't go to high school. So I think that from the florist, I think that I always wanted to be that making something. So I was very fascinated. I was very good drawings, and then like the coloring. I loved coloring, like all these princesses and all the flowers. I loved it. So so from coloring this, I went to. So my mom put me go to like a private drawing class. And so I started drawing since when I was maybe 8 onward. So I think by the time I think I was maybe like 13, 14, I really believe that I can be like a painter or like artist or like to do something with my hand. And so I was very determined to just go through that career. And then my drawing teacher told me that you have to do something else because being an artist is really tough, and then you have to make a living. So she kind of suggested that why don't you become a hairdresser? So I think I was 15, and then I was choosing whether I go to the high school or start becoming hairdresser, and I chose latter choice. I wanted to just try and see, and then I knew that I had a lots of friends that they did something else and then came back to do art, and then if you know like Marc Chagall's and then like lots of greatest like Bruno Magritte, and then they're all done like proper jobs, and then like lawyers and then they become artists. So I thought, why not? I think that I can pursue something else, and if I want to be an artist, then I can do that.
Yeah,
that was beginning.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's nice that your art teacher didn't. I thought for a minute there they were just going to say you just shouldn't even do this at all. But it was nice that they were like, you need some type of income that isn't coming from, I guess it's traditional art, to kind of make you think of that. I'm just glad they didn't say you just shouldn't even do this at all, because that I feel like there's probably some people out there that may have experienced that themselves and had such a tough time that they're like, just don't even bother. It's just keep it a hobby. It's never going to work out for you, kind of thing. So it's nice that they were just being practical, I suppose. Like, don't give up the art, but you are going to have to focus on something else so you can eat.
True.
Right?
I mean, like she did say that that's a very crazy idea, so please don't listen to me. But I was very focused on what she said, and I just pursued.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And so how did you do an apprenticeship or something with hairdressing? Like, did you go straight into a salon or did you go to a school?
Yeah, so I did a 1 year school. So that was like a point in Japan that now you have to have a high school graduate degree to become hair stylist or makeup
Oh,
artist.
wow.
So
Okay.
in my time, so that was you're talking about like mid 90s.
Mm.
Um, so that was like I think that I was the last 1 or 2 years that there was like in between. I could just go to like a technical college, like a hairdressing school, or
Yeah.
I wait 3 years and then go there. And then I just thought about, why do I wait for 3 years
Mm.
if I can do now? And then I think
Yeah.
that the kids these days, and then they won't be able to do this choice
Wow.
because of that now it's the law is changed and the people want to have a longer education. So I
Yeah.
thought, okay, I have a go. And
Yeah.
then so I did a 1 year of technical school, and I was the youngest one. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was employed by the hairdresser, like a kind of enterprise. So like they had a lots of different branches, and then head
Okay.
of the person was the Japanese guy that who went to study with Beatles students, and so he was the person who brought the cut and blow dry to
Okay.
Japan. So he was
Oh,
like a
wow.
legendary
Yeah.
hairdresser, and he had a lot of different salon in the various cities. And so I started working in one of those. And in the city I was living, and they had this hairdressing salon. One is very traditional, so like
Mm.
people probably above average age was like between 40 plus, or maybe sometimes 60 and 70. So lots of
Yeah.
posh ladies in the area come. And then there was another salon, and it's under the same branch.
Mm.
Um, and then it was more like young people, lots of like students, like university students goes there. And then, so
Okay.
I thought that was quite good to be in these salons that they send you like a back and forth of
Yeah,
one
that's
month you
great.
do, yeah, the traditional. So
Mm.
I got trained to do proper cut and blow dry in the traditional salons because everybody
Yeah.
wanted to have a like a hair set and then blow dry, cut and blow
Mm-hmm.
dry. On the other one was more funky, so you do more coloring,
Yeah.
more palms, and so like I got to, and then I had a lots of so when I was in teenage and I was very into like black cultures, and so I was doing like break dance and hip hop dance.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yes, I used to do lots of my friends' hair. So I started doing the braids and then
Oh,
like
yeah.
locks, and so I could do that in other salons, the young audience. And so I had a both of good salons in my neighborhood. And so like, and I was the
Yeah.
youngest one that is ever employed. But I think the head of the shop thought like I had something that maybe I was very crazy and then, cheap and cheerful. But
Well, I think it's such a young age to kind of, it sounds like you were quite decisive, like you knew what you wanted to do. So it was probably refreshing for somebody to see this young, enthusiastic person just be like, I want to do this. And it's just like, okay,
yeah,
let's do it. And that
yeah,
variety is amazing. Like that, I'm sure looking back, you're very thankful that you had such a variety of work to
yeah,
do and different things to learn. That's awesome.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like at that time I was doing like, so you know this, Jamie, but like in the hairdressing, there's a three different cut that you have to
Mm,
master. One is like one length, um, the other one is like bob, and like bob or like a graduation bob, and then the
yeah.
third is like layers. So if you
Hmm.
can do all those three, so that you can create any of the haircut. So
Yeah.
I had to do like layers and layers and bob every day, and then so we practice like Japanese hair salon. You work for like 10, 11 hours, and then you practice 2, 3 hours after work, and then you do that
Oh,
every day. It's
yeah.
like a health, and I don't think any of the country does that. Maybe like in some Asian country does, but it's very
That's a lot.
hardcore
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah. That's
But
a
I was
lot.
really, yeah, I think now I look back and then I think just because of that, I was um, forced practice so intensively. So I think that's really gave me very good, solid practice on. I'm very good at doing blow dry. I'm very confident in
Yeah.
doing haircut because we just did it like numbers of time repeatedly. And then when I did a Spencer, Princess Diana,
Yeah.
played by Christian Stewart, I did that hairstyles like over and over for like 8 months. Like you have to do that haircut. And I was thinking, why do I have to do this? Because no one wants to have this haircut. Because everyone, it was like in the late 90s, so everybody wants to
Right.
look like Jennifer Aniston rather than
Right.
Princess Diana. And
Mm-hmm.
Princess Diana herself already had like a very short haircut, so like it was a quite old fashioned at that time. But like when I did the wig on Christian's hair, and I was
Mm.
very happy that I practiced that over and over, so I was confident in doing so. And then
Yeah.
and also like meeting Pablo, because I think he had somebody else that he interviewed, and he said that I was the most confident one.
Is that
Um,
the director?
yeah, the director
Mm-hmm.
said, and then
Yeah.
I didn't want to come across cocky, but when he asked me that, can you do this hairstyle, and I said, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
can. I feel very comfortable. So he said that I was capable of doing the job, and then clearly I was because I practiced so much.
Yeah.
So
And it's so funny, I think, at the time when you're younger and you're like, why do I have to learn how to do this? This is stupid. But then years down the track and you're like, oh, I'm so glad that they made me do that. Because I felt like that about finger waving. Like I was
yeah,
like,
exactly.
why do I have to learn how to finger wave? This is stupid. Like it looks cool, but it's like, when am I going to do this in a salon? Like this isn't, my everyday client isn't going to come in and be like, can I have a full head of finger waves and pin curls around the edges, please? And then it wasn't until I went to makeup school and we were going through the periods and I was just like, oh, okay. And then one of my first film jobs was set in the 20s. So I was just like,
There you
oh,
go.
this is why. Well, not only that, but it teaches you how to, mold and control hair. But at the time as a teenager, I was like, oh, why are we doing this?
I know if you somehow have got like a eureka moment of thinking that, oh, this is the moment I practiced so long.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I do feel there's something so important about that time in the salon where you are repeating things, you are doing things day in, day out, over and over again, because it's so hard when you're in the film industry. I find that you may learn a new technique, but maybe you only get to do it like 2 or 3 times on
Yeah,
that one character, and then 6 months might pass before you get to do it again over and over again. So it's priceless. I think that salon work of just repetitive action. So that's amazing. And it sounds like in Japan you guys went hardcore on it with the amount of
yeah,
hours that you were doing. That's amazing.
yeah. I think any like hairdresser I met in London, um, especially the who is eager to come over like to study English and work in a salon. I think
Mm.
that most of them has got really good training background, also that they are in the top of the game. So when the Japanese hairdresser approached me and said, do you think I'll be able to work in the industry? I always say, yeah, I think lots of people need you. So
Yeah,
you should
yeah,
start.
that's
Um,
awesome. That's great.
yeah, so
So, working in the salon, coming up, learning all of these things, still so young. So, where do you kind of move from there? How do you transition into?
So I was 18 and I was like fully qualified stylist. And then
Mm,
I was given opportunity to go to Australia. Like I went to Sydney. And
okay.
then so that was the first country that I went out from Japan. And then
And was that opportunity just like through work, or was that a
yes, through
personal
work.
opportunity through work?
Yes,
Okay,
through work.
cool.
And then the work took me there. So we could be there for maybe 7 days. In that 7 days, and then I I was quite surprised that you can get by just knowing like a little words and inside like little sentences. So I went around and then I had a, you know, I'm not going to tell you whole story because it's going to be like, we need about like 2 days to chat.
Yeah.
Jamie, maybe another time we can talk about this.
Yeah.
But I think that trip made me feel more confident that, oh, I think there is a place in the other side
Mm.
of the world that I could probably live in.
Mm-hmm.
I was more, I think that lots of people are quite scared of moving away from where you are, like your comfort
Yeah.
zone. But I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was comfortable. So I thought when I came back to Japan, and I think the first things I thought was, I'm not sure if I just ended up being here, and then I think at the same time, because I was doing quite well with my clients, and my manager said, by the time you're 23, we will give you another branch. We can open up another branch, and you can become manager. And then
Oh.
I think those kind of comments you should be very happy about. But I think
Mm.
that really made me think that can I stay here or shall I move on? And then that really made me think, I think there's a world out there that I need to see. And then, so I made, I researched that there is a kind of, like travel agency that, for the hairdresser,
Oh,
who
okay.
can, yeah, it helps you to come to London and study Tony and Guys and then philosophies and then do work in the hair salons. And so it was for hairdresser.
Awesome.
So I applied for it and then
Mm.
paid quite lots of money, but I think it was worth it. And so that was the
Mm-hmm.
introduction to come to London. I was only 18.
I
So
think, thinking back with myself, I think if my boss in the salon had said to me at that kind of age, you know, we're working you up to take over or run a salon, I would have been like, whoa. I would have been the same way. I used to have clients all the time go like, when are you going to, so you're going to, you know, open your own salon? And I'd be like, no. Like, it's so funny that it was just like, I don't know what it is that I want to do, but I know I don't want to do that. So it's not until somebody kind of puts that up as an option that you, I think, very quickly are like, you have that gut feeling of like, yay, or no, I don't think I
mm,
want to do that. So it's kind of good that you were able to figure that out. So, how old were you when you moved to London?
18.
18.
Yeah.
Wow.
I look at the 18 years old, I think I must be so stupid or very naive.
And people do it all the time. Yeah. I mean, especially back then as well. I feel like, I don't know, I'm not sure if things have changed, but there seemed to be like just the fact that you were able to start training as a hairdresser at that age. I remember when I was in high school, I think we were around 14, 15, and one of the girls in our class left school because she was just like, this is wasting my time. I know I want to go be a hairdresser. And she just went and did it. So it was just like, oh, okay. I knew like my maturity at that point. It was like, no way, I can't even do that. I still need to stay in school for a hot minute. But I mean, it's so awesome to just, know what you want and go and do it. So as scary as it is, did you know anybody in London?
No, no, I
No?
didn't. Yeah, but I
Wow.
think I went into this kind of a house that it was a bunch of Japanese hairdressers, and then so we had
Okay.
something in common. And also, like if you are away from home, and then the feeling of loneliness just kind of filled in with other people's loneliness, and we become like a team.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I think, yeah, it was quite comforting.
Mm.
But I think, and I tried to work in a hair salon in England, but I think the first salon I worked in, I think there was a disaster because I couldn't speak language.
Mm.
So you need to communicate. You need to be able to communicate with your clients, and otherwise
Mm.
you ended up in disaster, don't you?
Yeah, that consultation is very important.
Yeah. And then like you have to be able to kind of warn people that, like they bring you the picture of Brad Pitt, and then
Mm.
it's different picture from your face, and then like you can explain that that might not be your hair textures. You might have to do it a different approach, but we can get to that kind of version of Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
that time, I couldn't really say it. So I do, I do it in the version of the what I think the best, but it wasn't what he was expecting. So
Right.
that was a like repeat of it. So I had to quit after maybe 2 months and then just focus on learning language for maybe year and a half.
Oh,
So
wow.
so I did a completely different jobs during that time.
Yeah. So
I think
how did you find, like, how did you do that?
so I was still doing the hair cutting and the hair colorings on the people that like friends, so that
Okay.
so I can explain more. So I had a like a part of like friends that friends of friends, and so like a like private client. It was growing, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, so I was working in the vintage shop, selling the
Okay.
vintage clothes,
Oh,
um,
cool.
which was quite cool. And then at that time, and then I think that by the time after a year, I think my language picked it up, and so I went back to doing the sound work.
And much better experience after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so at what point do you kind of move out of the salon and start doing, like, how does film and television come into your world?
So I was living this friend of mine, and she's German, and she was costume designer
Oh,
on
yeah.
like independent film. So she said, why don't you come and help me? And so I started going as a like a wardrobe assistant. Um,
Mm.
and then sometimes I have to, because I was quite good in like sewing and fixing things. And then one day, we were working on the music video, and then there was a makeup artist, but she couldn't do hair. And then my friend Alice then said that the Wakana can do hair, so she can help you. Um, so I was using how like hair dryers and brushes, and then my friend said, "You are quite good." And I said, "Well, that's what I have been doing for quite a while." And so
Yeah. You're like, I
um,
hope so. That's what I do.
yeah. So from that point, and I think the same. I think the music video producer asked me to do another job, and then another job led to another jobs, and then yeah, it just like the job was getting bigger and bigger, and then there was some point, and I thought maybe I should, and then like people start asking me, like, can you do makeup? And then
Mm.
I thought I guess I could because I do my own makeup, and also that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not different, is it? And then I also like having like drawing and then doing the art background, and I thought it's just same as painting people faces, isn't it? So
Yeah.
friend of mine had a like my friends who worked in a salon, and he had a like a makeup box, uh, which was probably like 20 years old, and it's really like kind of dated. But he said that I can have that to take it to the jobs, and then like um most of the time people ask me, can you do this? And then I thought, yeah, I guess so. It's like, I wasn't sure that if I could do it, but I felt like maybe I can.
Yeah. You don't know until you
So
try.
yeah, exactly. Um, so that was like my motto. So then I said, yeah, never say no, maybe just try it and then see. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so from then and I started getting more makeup jobs, so doing makeup and hair combined. There was a point that I was starting thinking that I need to learn professionally. I
Right.
think I shouldn't wing it. So because the production was getting bigger,
Mm.
so I decided to go into learn makeup, wigs and makeup, and also like prosthetics in Alona College of Fashion. Um,
Yeah.
so I shifted working in the salon just only the weekend, and then I studied on Monday to Friday in
Okay.
the university. So that
Yeah.
that was my shift.
How long was your course? How long did you study for?
Well, it was 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then if I tell you this, Jamie, and then if it goes spread in the world, and it sounds like I'm such a loser, but I mean, it's okay. I don't really care anymore. But I only stayed for a year, Jamie. So I did
Well, and I'll stop you there. And I don't think that that sounds bad because you've already, before this time, had a full life and career. So
okay.
3 years of studying is a long time. I think 3 years at the beginning of your career is acceptable. Do you know what I mean? Like it's when you're starting at like 16, 17, 18, 19, like that 3 years, it makes sense. But if you've already done a whole hairdressing training, a hairdressing career, and then been working on set, and then expected to give up like 3 years of your time for training, I think, I don't know. Yeah, I would have probably done the same thing. So, yeah, I mean,
Thank you. I
it's.
mean, like you're like my therapist. Thank you.
No, but it's true though. I don't think. Yeah, I know some people would be like, "Oh, what a quitter!" How well, it's just like, well, no. When you think about it, it kind of, yeah, 3 years is a long time at that age in the middle of a career. I mean, if
Yeah.
you were completely changing directions, maybe, but you're just like adding to what you're already doing, I think a year is great. It's better than
Thank you,
nothing,
Jamie.
right?
Thank you. I don't feel bad, but
I don't
I
think
mean,
you should. I think you should.
I mean, like it's like we say that if the end is good, it's always good, and so I ended up in having good career. So I think that's like we going towards happy endings, so it's kind
Yeah,
of okay.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah, but I think that I only lasted for I completed the year. On the second year, I got offered working on the film
Hmm.
because I was doing lots of like short films and I did a lot of music videos and so
Yeah.
just doing my own work and I just let it to get into feature films.
Yeah.
So that my first feature film was going to Argentina for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then
Kind of
I thought,
hard to turn that down as well. It's just like, oh, this opportunity has come.
yeah, and
Got to
it
say
sounded
yes.
so exotic and going to Argentina for 3 months. And I thought, like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do it. And then
Yeah.
I didn't believe until like I was in the airplane. I couldn't still believe that I was going. But so I told my tutor that I'm sorry, I've been offered a job. And
Hmm.
yeah, so I left and then from the fast film and then I got to know people and then fast film the producer introduced me to the different jobs and then I think that I just got another job from there and then here I am.
Just,
So
yeah, here you are. That's amazing. I love that. So, did you stayed in the UK? You stayed in London?
yeah,
That's, yeah, amazing. That's so
yeah,
exciting.
yeah. So I managed to.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That's
managed.
awesome. And so, with all the jobs that you've done so far, and I know that this sometimes can be a tricky question to answer because I feel like you kind of get to a point where, I don't know, your projects feel like your children. Like, how do you pick a favorite? But I'm going to ask you anyway, to kind of talk about three of your favorites that you've done so far and like why they have a place in your heart.
Oh, that's so difficult, Jamie. But I think
I
it's
know, but I'm asking it anyway. And it can
um
be for so many different reasons as to why you
I,
love something.
I think I've got like three different. I mean, like I've got so many projects that I really loved so much, and
Mm,
then I do it again.
mm,
But I think the first film was so special. I think it's probably part of it because it was my first film, and then I still remember it so vividly. Um,
mm.
I think first film is called City of Your Final Destinations.
Okay.
The actors are, you'd be very surprised. It's really good cast. It's Anthony Hopkins,
Uh-huh.
um, Lola Linney,
Yeah.
and then Charlotte Gainsbourg,
Oh,
um,
wow.
and then the Hiroyuki Sanada. And so it was amazing cast. And
Mm,
then we are shooting in a very remoted place that they couldn't really find a hotel because there was no hotel around. So we had to stay in
right.
people's houses.
Yeah.
Um, and then every weekend we did it like horse riding, mountain bike riding, and we did it because we were so remote from each other. And also that was Merchant Ivory Productions, and Merchant Ivory people are like families. Everybody knew each other. So
Right.
I was kind of like last person to join. So that everybody
Hmm.
welcomed me. It was beautiful scenery and hot, and the job was quite easy. James only want to shoot 10 hours a day, so we finish like 4, 5 o'clock, and then you go home, and then you
Yeah.
have a weekend. So it was like a dream job. So I thought, oh, I can do the film industry because this is like a holiday.
They fooled you.
They fooled me, and I came back on and doing like a night shoot in the rain in London in the winter, and you're thinking, oh no, I didn't sign up for this.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful experience. So I can understand why you, yeah, remember that fondly. That's awesome. And what about your other ones?
The other one, probably the Marvels that I did, Marvel Productions, and then
Yeah.
I think that many thanks to all this amazing personal hair stylist and makeup artist who looked after the lead. So
Mm.
I be able to create lots of fun characters. So I was still looking after people, but it was not like most of the job I did. I ended up looking after the lead cast um,
Mm-hmm.
because of say bringing me into the project. So um,
Yeah.
so the if I do, I like it that way. I like that also because it's challenging, but at the same time, then it's a very wonderful that you can concentrate on the fittings or like ahead of the fitting. You can do the very good research, and so I think all the characters that I put together, I could spend a very good time to articulating the characters.
Yeah.
And
Like really design, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also like I could have spent more time with a crowd supervisor and creating the great
Mm-hmm.
looks for the backgrounds, and so and also by working with many talents, and then I learned a lot doing all sorts of skills, and then because of the film's actors was very diverse, you have to be able to offer lots of different options, and also like need to know how their skins and how their hair is, and so I think in a way it was very challenging, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's I think that it's probably the biggest job I've done in a scale of teams, and then so it was very nice to find all these lovely um, people that I work with, so
Yeah.
I
You
think
guys
that
did some really cool work on that. It was yeah, it was awesome. Awesome to see. So nice to be able to, I don't know, just that create and design. I mean, because they're people from different places, different times, different, it's not here and now. So it's you guys got to really go for it, which is really cool. And
mm,
collaborate with the costume design, and
yeah.
yeah, it's very, very cool.
Yeah, so I think that sometimes on the job you won't get to have that time,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
so I think I was very appreciating the fact that I was able to do so.
Yeah. And what's your third one?
So possibly, oh, it's hard to say. A project I'm doing now.
Okay.
Um,
So we'll find out about it later. But what is it called?
exactly.
Can we know the name?
This is that it's a very long name. So the last disturbance of Madeline Hind. This is the
Okay.
title. That's a very long
Okay.
title. So the Kenneth Branagh is directing, and then Jodie Comer is the lead.
Amazing. Awesome.
So
I got to work with Kenneth for a little moment on Oppenheimer, and he spoke very highly of you.
oh
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So I'm not
My God.
surprised to hear that you're working with him again. So that's awesome. I love it.
Okay. I'm glad that he said good things about me.
Of course.
Um, but I think it's just because of that, I've done lots of job with him and also with his team. So he
Mm-hmm.
always have a very, solid department of the people that he work with. So it's become like a family business. So every time I do the film with Kenzo, there are so many familiar faces. I know possibly like half of the people
That's
I work
awesome.
with. So
Yeah.
that kind of familiar feelings, and also like I think there's a certainty like he trusts, and also like our producer trusts our teams, and so like it's much easier to work. So
Mm.
it's not too many stress of like explaining why you do things and what you need. And I think they fully trust, and they tell me, this is the budget, do what
Right.
you can. So, and then they're very complimentary of the job we do. So, and then the actors that we're working with is so lovely. And then I think it's something to do with maybe like we went through all this strikes, COVID and strikes, and people, some people didn't work for a long time, and then this might be the like first job for some people for maybe last 2 years, and so that I think everybody is happy to be at work, and
Yeah.
and then so it's a very beautiful that everybody's quite happy. It's not like some job is being miserable, but I think we forget how fortunate we are to do something we like,
Yeah.
and I think this film really reminds me of that.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. I love it. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing it.
It's very complicated film.
Okay, well, I like that. I like a film that's going to make me think. Now, when you are considering accepting a project, what are some of the things that kind of help you decide whether it's a yes or no for you?
At the moment, because of I have had two children and they're still small. One just turned into 9, and then the other one is 5.
Yeah.
So I think it's getting easier, but I think it's because they have been quite small. So like
Mm.
since I have a first one, I think predominantly all the jobs that I'm taking is UK based. So
Yeah.
I've been offered really nice jobs in abroad, like some juicy ones that I really wanted to do, and also like some of the like TV series or like the feature films that I've been offered. I wanted to take it, but just because that was too long on the time that it was not working. So I have to prioritize family more than the project. So I had to turn that down. And then sometimes you see that, some people nominated for Oscars and things, and I said, oh, damn, I should have done it.
No, family first, family first. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I think it's just at the moment is very much of, when I've been send the project out, always ask where we filming and how long.
Yeah.
And I think that's the decision point. And then if I say that, I probably like people stop offering me a job, but um,
No, well, you never know. You never know
yeah,
what someone's answer is going to be when that offer comes in. So yeah, that's a big one.
so
Absolutely.
yeah, so I think it's in the later stage I'll be able to choose more of the what's the film is about, and I wouldn't have a more restriction of where we shoot, and so I
Yeah.
think the decision of the project I would do would be more different.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so let's talk about that a little bit, that kind of work life family balance. Like how have you done that? Because honestly, as a as a woman who does not have children and I have 2 dogs, that's enough. I can't even deal with that.
That's full on.
Um, and I go to work with mums and dads, and I'm just like, I don't know how you do this.
But
I
same.
find it incredible. So, you guys have like superpowers or something? Like, what's going on?
No, we don't. We are like a tired parents.
Yeah. So, like, are there any things that you've kind of put in place to, I guess, help that balance?
So my partner, he's a producer, and he used to work on independent films, and then he quit being working on a film project. And since the first one was born, he said that I'm gonna go into the commercial so that he can be around, and also like the shoot is like like maybe 5 days, 10 days maximum, so it's not like
Yeah.
shoot. So he was the main reason that I can do what I do at the moment, because he switched on to
Yeah.
be be the parents, like when I have to work. So I can't do back to back. So
Yeah.
at the moment I've done back to back on the last project, which I was very naughty, and then but
Well, sometimes, yeah, because I mean, I don't even, I don't have kids, but I also agreed with myself, made the decision that I wouldn't do back to back either, because there was a time where I did a year of that and got to the end of the year and I was burnt out, and I was just thinking, I can't do this job
you
anymore.
burn out. I don't
So,
know how you could do it for a year. I think I only did the 2 jobs, and I'm thinking that no, I can't do this anymore.
but some people do it all the time. They
I
just go
don't know.
from job to job to job. And I just know that, well, for myself, that, and being a head of department, and you probably feel the same, that when you are working, it's very hard to be focusing on anything else, because it, even when you're not at work, there's still emails coming in, there's
Yeah.
still questions being asked, there's still things that you're trying to prep and get ready and all that type of thing. So I just know that I need a break at the end to give my life 100%, give my garden time, my family
And your
time,
dogs.
and my dogs. And then also when I start that next job, I can give them everything again, because I've like recharged my batteries and my brain is functioning again. Because by the end of a job, it's like smush, like it's not working properly. I'm tired, you know?
Yeah, tiredness get you
So,
some point, doesn't it? I think you want to
mm,
do the job properly, but I think your body is kind of shutting down. Yeah, so I think that, and I say maybe never doing back to back. I did it for Ken because of,
yeah,
yeah, just he's very special.
you're going into a project that you probably understand how it's going to work more. There's less unknown, because you're working with a group of people that you've worked with before and trust and all that type of stuff. So there's so much of that. It can be really hard work working with brand new people that you don't have to worry about so much. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right, and I think I probably don't do that. Yeah, but I think it just so I try to take, so like I work 6 months and then he works for 6 months. Maybe at the moment it's maybe 7 and 5, but
Mm-hmm.
we try to take turn. He can still his career, and then
Yeah.
I think it's sometimes better that you miss motherhood, like parenthood. And so like when I finish the jobs, then I can give myself 100%.
Yeah.
So, so I think that's how we balanced so far. But I think it's not many people who can do that. I think it's that lots of sacrifices,
Yeah.
especially for women that I think if the partner works 9 to 5 jobs, and I think I know lots of my colleagues that they want to go back to work, but they're struggling to have a childcare. And so I think it's many people go back to their parents, and so like they could be looked after by like grandparents, and so when they go to work. And so I think everybody has to find a way, and also some
Yeah.
people do the nannies, but I think it's a big step for anyone to have a children, and especially for women's that um, I think it's. I always tell my young colleague that I think it's
Mm.
just to find a partner that was happy to for you to continue what you do. I think that's something that's very important.
Yeah, it really is. And I think for those of us, like myself, who don't have kids, aren't thinking like it's not happening, and then heads of department like yourself who have children and are more understanding of that, is just being conscious of that when, like, if you're running the crowd room or anyone that's in a hiring position, to try and help.
Mm,
Like, if someone can only, maybe they, when they're first starting to get back into the workforce, they can manage like one day a week or something. And it's just like, be that person that can help them kind of start getting back into it. Or if they can only do half days, then, be that person. Don't just assume like, oh no, they've got kids now, they don't want to work. It's just like, well, no, like, reach out to them. They might be ready to get out of the house for
yeah,
a half a day, like 3 days a week or something like that. So I think it's, and they'll be so grateful to just get back into it and have some time for for them and do what they want to do. So
Yeah.
I think we just have to be conscious of trying to help parents as well be able
Yeah.
to get back into it and do it in a way that helps them. People keep talking more and more about like job sharing as well, which I find quite interesting. I don't quite know practically how that would work in some cases, because I don't know, especially if you're looking after lead characters and stuff, whether they're going to want people swapping week in, week out and have somebody different doing their hair and makeup. I just don't know quite how that would work. But it sounds like on things that are more episodic TV, that might be a great thing, that, you know, one person does one episode and, you know, and they kind of swap in and out. I'd kind of like to see production kind of help with that a little bit more as well.
When I did a Loki, because I did a Marvel year before, and
Yeah.
then we shot the whole through the summer holiday, and then the summer holidays being alone and then dealing with the children, and it's a tough job, and then lots of women does that. So that when
Yeah.
I got offered a job, my mind was, I don't mind to do any jobs, but I think if it goes over the summer holiday, I have to take some times off. So,
Yeah.
so I, like some of the job I've been approached and I talked, so I'm happy to take the job. I'm happy to decide I can stay until this day, but after that onward, so I'm happy to come like maybe twice a week, or just oversee the, department, but I have to bring somebody in to replace me. And I think the
Yeah.
Loki producers, they are very understanding. So they said, you can do so. So I did a prep and also like 10 weeks of shootings. And after that, then I brought my teams in to just run. And then I just went back a couple of times and then just to go through talking to my supervisor every day. So I did that way. And then I felt like I achieved something.
Yeah.
And then I think it's not very it's not great for anybody, but I think it's just that if you have those conditions that are you need to you like to work, but you want to balance the family life. And I think it's fair to say to the people, you shouldn't just expect that you have to do the job entirely. I believe that there's a way to work, and then I think lots of my colleagues who's got children, they always say, I love to come work with you, but I think I have a difficulty at home, and I always say, how can I make it work? As you say, Jamie, I think there's always way to work. I would never do it if I didn't really communicate it
Yeah.
beforehand.
And there's no harm in, like, if you're at the beginning of a discussion about accepting a job, it's not like they're going to run away from you if you ask the question. If you say, hey, what I was wondering, like, would you consider thinking about this? Like, would that work for you? Like, there's nothing wrong with asking that question. You just, it's, you know, it's just a great way to have boundaries and kind of, because they're not going to offer it. I mean, you are, because you're a head of department and you understand being a parent, but a lot of producers aren't going to be offering up that scenario, are they? So it's until it's put into their mind to think about it, and they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, I don't see what's wrong with doing that. That sounds fine, you know? So if you don't ask the question, you may not, don't help yourself out, do you?
But sometimes it's the college is like a courage, isn't it? Like sometimes you're scared to ask, because if you ask and you
Yeah.
never get the job, or you know you never be chosen. So I think it's kind of okay to ask. If it doesn't go, I mean, at least you asked, and then
Yeah.
rather than just suppress yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, you could suggest it doing it one way and they could be like, well, no, I don't know if that will work, but, you know, would this work? So there could always, you know, it's just that compromise and having those discussions and just bringing it up. So yeah, I think it does take a bit of courage, absolutely, to broach the subject, I think. So, but worth it, because obviously every now and again it's going to work, right?
I hope so. I mean, like,
Yeah. You don't
Jamie,
know, and yeah.
yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
My phone stopped ringing now. I said it.
No. That's not it at all.
Uh,
So let's talk about like when you are putting your teams together, what are some of the things that you're looking for?
I think it's more of the that like different things. I mean, like lots of people send me the CV, and I'm always grateful for that. But I think I
Yeah.
won't be able to offer the job just based on the CV. I need to meet people. I need to talk to people. So I
Mm,
always chat to them before I offer the positions, or I at least I work with them and see. But I look into the people that has got good sense of humor,
mm-hmm.
and also politeness, and also that can read a room.
Yeah.
So to understand, and it has got like sensibility that um, you don't shout in certain situations.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like exaggerating, but I think it's nice that somebody has got when you meet the people, you know. I think in fact that you feel comfortable instantly, like you.
Yeah.
And then I think I have never met you before, but I feel very comfortable. Um, I think it's something to do with the how you get on with people, and then
Yeah.
also that like a technical side of it. So like
Mm-hmm.
I look into the people that they've got the eyes, so when they can see the little details and then can
Mm,
read. I think that's probably those two things. And then
yeah.
maybe third, it's the people can be independent. So like
Yeah.
in our jobs, I think it's better to help others rather than being helped. And then I always think that it's best to be a good giver than good takers. And so so I like people that who's givers.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. No, it
yeah.
makes sense. I am curious though, I don't know how you would do this, but going back to like having a eye for detail, I suppose, how can you kind of figure that out just through the interviewing process?
I think these days it's quite easy because everybody has got an Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I if there's like a 50 CVs, I always look into people who's got website or some kind of Instagram page that they put together showing their
Yeah.
works. I think someone that who be able to assemble something because it takes a long time, and also like it need a coordinations and more admin skill to put things together. So
Yeah.
present their works.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I like that. I just feel like it's a little bit different between the States and the UK. Because as
Mm,
you say, like people send you their
mm.
CVs and all that type of stuff, and you guys have your trainees and your juniors and all that type of thing. And I think in the time that I've been head of department in the States, I've maybe had two resumes sent to me. Like
Really?
it's just not something people do. They don't do it. I've had it done where like if I one of my last job was out of California and I wasn't able to take any of my normal crew with me. I had to crew up with people that I didn't know. So in that situation, I did a shout out on social media
Mm.
with a list of like, send me an email, tell me this, tell me that, blah, blah, blah. And then I had like follow up things. So I wanted to see images of their work history, like, and they answered a few questions for me. And then from that, I was able to kind of narrow it down and have like Zoom interviews with people. But it's not, I don't think a lot of them didn't have any type of portfolio together of
Mm.
sorts. Like they were just scrambling to try and find, maybe a few continuity pictures that they might have taken on their phone from different jobs and things like that. So it's, yeah, it seems to just work so differently here. And I think because you can only hire out of the union, and when it comes to, because it's separate, you have your hairstylists and you have your makeup artists, there's so many more makeup artists than there are hairstylists. So I feel like makeup artists do get into a little bit more of a tradition of putting a portfolio together and having examples of their work and being a little more proactive with trying to get work because there's more competition there. But I will say hairstylists, and I'm not saying at the moment because work is, a little not happening so much at the moment, just after strike and all whatever's
Same as
happening.
in US.
Yeah. So it's very quiet here at the moment. So I'm not talking about now, but when it is normally functioning and busy, hairstylists, they're hard to find, they're hard to get. So the ones who are really great are, they get booked. So there isn't that kind of that work. I don't know what it is, that structure in place
Mm.
to network and reach out and send your resume to people and show examples of your work. And because it's just like, well, my name's in the union book. If you need a hairdresser, you just go down the list and choose somebody. So it's, I wish it did work a little bit more like it does in the UK, because I mean that's very similar to New Zealand and Australia as well. Like I remember doing that, especially like when a designer would come in from out of the country, and it's just like, everyone would send in their CVs, and you would hope like, am I gonna, get picked out of that pile? But that doesn't seem to happen so much here, so it's weird.
I think it used to be like there was a like a diary things called Norwich, and then the
Oh yeah,
people go on and call and then see the who's available. But I think the system slightly changed recently. Um,
yeah,
but just because I work in the UK and I don't really go elsewhere, and I think uh, my teams is quite solid that I always have same people around and then know for over 10 years, and we work
mm,
together. And then sometimes we lost in touch because of that. I take 6 months off, so they go and work somewhere else, and
yeah,
the timing doesn't work. And then, but I have enough people. I rarely look for people because it's always somebody I know is available.
that's
But
awesome.
so I think it is trainee is the most that we look for because of the trainee that I train that I say steps up.
Mm,
So like every year we have a kind of new trainee.
yeah,
But I think other than that, I think I would love to work with lots more people. And then sometimes people send me CVs, and especially like through Instagrams, and some very cool hairdressers and makeup artists sending me like, I love to work with you, and then I really
yeah.
love to work with them. But I think it's just we have a certain number of people in the teams, don't we? So we can't really
Yeah, yeah,
cover
I know.
everyone. Um,
Yeah, I know.
but
It can be tricky for sure. And so what kind of project have you not worked on that you would like to?
I would love to do aging.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I would love to do it. So like one person, something like a Lavian laws that like one person goes from like 18 years old to like 60 years old, and that's something I really love to do. Um,
Yeah.
to work on the details, and then also like
Well, you put
hairs
it out there now, you've said it out loud. It's going to
ma
happen.
manifesting.
Yeah. Exactly. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I hope that comes your way. I think
Yeah.
that's yeah, a really nice challenge to just dig your teeth into. That'll be awesome.
Have you done anything like that?
Um, we did a bit with Oppenheimer,
Mm,
but it was uh, tricky for me because I wasn't allowed to use wigs
why not?
because Christopher Nolan doesn't like them. So yeah, yeah, you're silenced right now. You're like, why? Yeah, I think it's a mix of, he's just seen too many bad wigs in his time, which is fair enough because there's a
Mm,
few out there in the world. And
that's sad.
I think it's just he does incredible close ups and IMAX and he doesn't want to be fixing anything in post. So he doesn't want to be taking any lace off anywhere when he's doing a close up like this on an IMAX screen. So I think I'm speaking for him. So I assume that's those are his reasons. I'm just guessing. He didn't really tell me. I just went, okay. So at the beginning of the job, he did explain to me there'll be a lot of graying of hair, like painting, like. And I'm like, oh, okay, we'll see how this goes. I was just like, it can only take us so far. I was just like, at some point, it's going to look like their hair is painted. And he was just like, okay, I'll tell you when that is. I was like, all right. So yeah, sometimes you just got to do what the boss says. So we just did our
You're
best
right.
to try and make hair look like it's naturally going grey and adjust hairlines by shaving and thinning and that type of stuff. So yeah, I would have been more comfortable, I think, doing it with wigs. But not having that option was
Wow, I didn't
interesting.
know. It
Yeah,
looks
it was
wonderful.
challenging. Oh, that's good.
I didn't.
It's like
I watched that again.
I was allowed to use, like, on Killian, a hairpiece at his oldest age, because there was just no way I was ever going to be able to. And the funny thing is that at the beginning of when I first got that job, they were telling me that the original schedule was all created around the hair. And then they realized that because of location and budget and everything, they couldn't shoot, because they were going to shoot it in time order. So start with everybody at their youngest and move through time, so we could I could be more aggressive with the thinning and the hairline adjustments and the graying and all that type of stuff, and the hair cutting, getting shorter and all that type of thing.
Wow.
And then they were just like, this is going to cost way too much. We just have to shoot it like we do a normal film, and it's going to be, out of order and all over the place. So wouldn't that be magical to be able to
Wow.
shoot in order?
I'm very amazed. Like, it's such a big scale to film like that, and then you're putting so much effort to do it in order because of the hair, and I think I respect. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's the
It's a
ideal
shame we
word.
couldn't do it that way. Yeah, ideal world, and it didn't work out that way. But they thought about it. At least they considered it. So that was pretty awesome.
Great. Thanks for your thought.
Yeah. So it's one of the questions that I ask a lot of people, because I think a lot of our listeners, especially those that are kind of starting out, love to hear. But is there a piece of advice that you were told once that has kind of really stuck with you?
I have two great one.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is sit down before your legs start to get hard.
Say that again.
Sit down
Yeah.
before your legs start getting hard.
Okay.
And because of it, I was so trained to not sit down from the start on
Mm-hmm.
time. You're not allowed
Yeah,
to
me
sit down
too.
because
Me
of
too. Yeah.
you are read as a lazy one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I was very hesitant to sit down.
Yeah.
And then I think that my good friends Elizabeth Leonardi, and then we are sharing artists together. And then she had a very good method of finding very good spot always. And then I learned from her that how to find a spot and to put your chairs in.
Yeah.
And then because I never did it, and she kind of showed me the way of where would be the good place, see the cameras, and then just finding the place, and then sit
Yeah.
down. So it was more of to find the right positions and where to be, and don't be afraid, because of you have to do your job properly, and then
Mm-hmm.
your body is more important rather than you feel tired and you can't do the job. So it was a more
Yeah.
metaphoric way of like telling me, like telling
Yeah.
my young self that don't worry, it's okay, let
Yeah.
that go.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
so that was one of the advice I got. And then the other ones, so the lady called Elizabeth Lewis, that she was the kind of the reason that I started to be in the film industry. She opened up the first door for my first feature. Somehow that Anthony Hopkins' partner couldn't come to join the shoot, but I was asked maybe like 3 days before the shoot that are you gonna be the one looking after the Sir Anthony Hopkins? And then he's a really big actor, and then as a Japanese, and then he's very well known in Japan. And I was so deadly nervous, and then I was
Mm-hmm.
so scared, and I felt sick just going to meet him.
Right.
I really honestly, I didn't want to do his makeup. I was doing other people before, and then I felt really sick. And then I kind of said to Elizabeth, Elizabeth, I feel really sick. I don't really want to do it. But I was the only one had to do it. There
Yeah.
was no others. So she said to me, just think that Anthony as your client in the salon. He's coming
Yeah.
to see you.
Mm-hmm.
He's just coming to see you for his little haircut. And you just need to
Yeah.
do the little tiny makeup. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So she
Mm-hmm.
said that to me, and then I think they changed my perspective that oh, I don't really have to worry too much about who's gonna come into my chair. Um,
Yeah.
he's like one of the clients in the salon, and he was so lovely, and then lovely to work with, and then I think I didn't really have to worry about. But I think it just if I was in such a state, and I think my performance would be so bad, and so the little advice like what Elizabeth said. And then it really helped. And then I think it stayed with me still that every time that if I ever feel nervous of meeting some of the actors that you have a starstruck, and then
Yeah.
you just have to kind of say to yourself, it's just only the clients or she's just only clients. And then it's fine. It kind of calms me down.
Yeah, it's a really good way to look at it. And I have a funny feeling. It's so funny. I'm having one of those eureka moments, I think. I think that's how I've just done it. Like I think that's because I will have moments of just like, oh God. But I think it's normally, oh God, I hope they're not an asshole is normally what it is.
Well, that's what we hope, aren't we?
Yeah, but I think I do look at everybody, yeah, that it's another client coming in. It's just another person. I mean, you should be treating that person like you are someone who is unknown. Like it's every client, every person coming through your chair. Yeah, they're just people. And I think
Exactly.
yeah, I remember getting asked once, like, how do you not get nervous and rah 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 when you've got Brad Pitt in your chair? And it's just like, and I never knew how to answer that question, but now I feel like I do
Mm,
with you saying that, because it's just like, oh yeah, it is just like he's another client that's coming through, and I'm providing a service and doing what I need to get done and in a amount of time, and then we're on to the next thing. So it's part of the job, I
it's like
suppose.
another day in salon.
Yeah, yeah, it really is.
And then
That's
also,
so true.
yeah, like as you said, they are people, and then also I think it's not like you have to treat this person special, because you do treat everybody specials in your own way. So it's
Hmm.
nothing different.
Yeah, I think it's a good lesson to learn of for people working in crowd rooms or wherever they're working. I don't think it should matter if they're number one on the call sheet and one of the most famous people on the planet, through to a background performer and it's their second day ever on set. Like that, you should be treating everybody really well. Like
Exactly.
being polite, doing, professional ethics, all that, behaving like that. And I think I don't know, it just makes you feel better when you're just treating everybody
Mm,
with that respect
yeah.
from start to finish, the PAs, your team, your everything like that just makes for a better working environment, doesn't it?
It does. I
Yeah.
think it is very simple things, but we sometimes forget if we are in a rush or somebody rushes you.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I think it's just like a breather that fine. It's just another day in salon. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then like when you have a like a 20, I did a like a crazy hair makeup call with a 20 cast with a 20 stunts, and we only had a like a 12 artists
Oh, wow.
in the teams, and we had a like a 4 days, but it's just like a crazy amount of people.
Yeah.
And then we just worked it out, and then who does what, and then like I told everyone just to leave everyone when your time is up, because if you hold someone, other people will. It's like a domino effect. So when your time
Yeah.
is done, just let them go. It's like a game. And then we just see what we did in the end.
Yeah.
And 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 then I told everyone, so they just like think that it's like really busy day in Christmas. And then I
Yeah.
think everybody had a great time.
I think too, yeah, it just definitely helps to try and plan it as much as you can, but at the end of the day, so you do your best to try and stick to that, but it doesn't always work out. But as long as you've tried,
Yeah. The
and
half
everyone's,
mustache.
yeah, everyone's doing it, having a good time and being nice, then that's all you can do. So I want you to think about just the films that you've watched in your life.
Mhm.
Is there a film that you remember watching and thinking, holy shit, like the hair and or makeup is incredible in this film?
Recently, like I think last year, I think I watched Maestro
Uh-huh.
in the cinema. So I really wanted to watch that in the cinema. I have to say that I couldn't believe it. I wanted to stop and I wanted to rewind it and I watch again. So,
You're
what
like,
stuff?
pause the film.
Why? Yeah, please. And then, so then I watched again when it came on the on demand, and I watched it. Um,
Yeah.
I watched again, and then I just thought the prosthetic skin was moving as the skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. It just I don't know what I would really like to know what he used, but just I think a combination. You couldn't see the seam. I couldn't see the joint. The coloring was perfect. And then even like in a condition of very sweaty, because most of the time when he was conducting, I was
Mm.
dripping with the sweat, and I'm thinking like, how do you do with the water and prosthetics? It just doesn't marry together. And
Yeah.
thinking that where the joint, and then so that's I was just kind of like gobsmacked. So
Yeah. It
so
was yeah, mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. I don't know, man. I don't know how Kazu does this. Like he's. Psh. I just actually interviewed him yesterday,
did
so
you?
I spent yesterday morning chatting to him. Yeah, it
Amazing,
was a great conversation.
great.
Um, but yeah, mind blowing. Like it's just such beautiful work. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I went
Yeah,
to see him on there was an IMAT, and then like he was giving a workshop, and then I got the tickets, and then I went to see.
yeah.
I could see when he was doing the demonstrations in front of maybe like a 2 meter apart, and I can go on and see that when he did the fast layers for the color. So I know
Mm,
how he works, and he works so fast, and then like everything he planned is like it's such a beautifully conducted, and then
yeah.
the that how great he is but he's so humble, and then
Yeah,
so
he has no idea. He doesn't know. He just that's what made the conversation just delightful because it was just like I just felt like going, it's like, dude, you're a fucking legend. Like, do you understand? Like, do you get it? But he was just so open to sharing how stressed he gets, how nervous he gets, how he just sees things as being impossible. Like he's just like, it's impossible. I don't know how, we can never master to make it look 100% real. And it's just like, what, are you kidding me? Like yeah, I think you can. I don't. But he just, yeah, it was nice to have a conversation with. I was surprised. I felt like he would. I had preconceived ideas that he would know how amazing he is, but I don't think he understands.
He's very
Yeah.
humble.
Yeah. It's very cool. So if I came into your station and your work setup and I took something away from you, what would freak you out? So what one tool or product would you never want to work without?
So I don't know if you know this product's called Freeze and Shine from Paul
I
Mitchell.
don't. Yeah.
Oh, Jamie, I think that's like life changing for me.
I need
So
it in my life. What is
yeah,
it? Tell me.
it's a secret of success. Um,
I've been wondering what it is all this time. Okay, tell me.
so it's a setting lotions and also hairspray,
Okay.
and then so
Okay.
it's like a liquid product, and then you spray it, and then it flees the hair in place, and then it gives shines, and then so like for example when you have in the very last minutes that when you get to set everything went
Mm,
wrong, and then and you just only got like 2 minutes fix. You don't have electricity, you don't have a tongs, and then you just don't have anything, but you only got the sprays and then with the clips.
mm,
So what you can do is that you can just manipulate the hair growth. You put the pins
yeah.
in it and you
Yeah.
spray. Wait for
Mm-hmm.
wait for 2 minutes, like not even 2 minutes, like maybe 30 seconds, and then you take
Mm-hmm.
off the clips and you just brush it, and then that stays in place.
Oh, wow.
Or you
So is
can
it
use
like a
that.
pump spray or is it an
Mhm.
aerosol?
Oh, the pump
It's like
spray.
a pump spray? Okay.
Yeah, and also you can use
Amazing.
as a setting lotion. So you just sprays into the hairs before you put the tongs, and you just brush it through, and then put the tongs,
Yeah.
and it stays. Um,
Okay. And is it something that it's better to use less is more, or do
yeah,
you, yeah?
you can build up, and the great thing is like end of the day, like
Mm.
a got to be glue things like
Yeah,
people
yeah.
love. It does do the same effect, but got to be you
Mm-hmm.
can't brush through because it's so
Right.
hard. Freeze and
Yeah.
shine you can brush through, and then if you put
Okay.
oil through, it just kind of like gives a nice kind of messy hair. We have been using this since my first feature film, and then
Okay.
that some if I always have it in my bag, um, and then even you can use as a like a setting lotion for like makeup. So like when I do tattoo cover, I put it over, and then when it
Oh,
dries,
wow.
and then you put the powder, and it stays. It's actually
Okay.
as good as like a green marble. Um,
Okay.
so I highly recommend it. I think I swear by it. And sometimes like because I love it so much, and then some of my colleagues um, sometimes joke like it tells me the joke and said, "Wakana Freeze and Shine discontinued."
Yeah. You're
Um,
like, I retire.
yeah. And then I said, "Oh, can you just go into the eBay and just buy everything?" And then they said, "Oh, don't get freaked out." And then I was joking.
I know it's the day that you try and buy the recipe off them. It's
Mm.
just like, can you, if you're not going to make it anymore, can I make it?
That
Can I
that
get somebody else to make it?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? I think there was like one Schwarzkopf had a kind of a similar thing, and they discontinued,
Mm,
and I was devastated.
I know it's tricky because we in the film industry tend to use these beauty products a little differently than the average consumer. So, if we're not buying enough of it, then and the consumers aren't really using it, then it's just like, well, why do we keep making it? So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
maybe I
And
was thinking I should have ordered like a tons and then put it in my in my shed.
maybe a lifetime supply. You should let them know.
Yeah.
Get a contact in Paul Mitchell and be just like, guys, if you are thinking about discontinuing it, I am the first person you call.
And they know me, and so when I because they send some like kind of like gift, like
Mm-hmm.
sponsor gift, and
Yeah.
then like they said, oh, you can have a like so and so products, and I said, no, can we have a like a Freeze and Shine 1 liter bottle for eight liter, please? And then they just laugh about it.
They're like,
You,
what are you doing with
yeah, it's just only after Indonesian shine. What's yours?
What's mine? Oh my god, lady. Well, I don't use it all the time, but my as far as a hairspray, I love Tresemme hairspray.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, and people give me shit about it because it's cheap and nasty, but I just find it really reliable.
which one?
It just well, any of them really.
Mm.
But I think they're different in different countries because every time I go somewhere else, I'm just like the packaging is different and then called different things. But they did maybe a couple of years ago come out with a unscented hairspray, which makes me very happy because
Oh,
that's one of the things of hair products or hairsprays. I won't use something if it's too fragrant, like if I'm
mm.
eating it when I'm using it because it's horrible. Um, I don't know. I just find it really workable. I find it holds well when I need to. It's light enough when I need it to be. It brushes out easily. It doesn't build up on my wigs. The nozzle never clogs up. They have big sizes. They have mini sizes. I
They never let
just
you down.
They never let me down, and it's in most countries, so that makes it
I
also
might
easier.
just revisit because I just only have a prison shine. See when
Have a
they
little Tresemme.
discontinue.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't. I don't think it will do what the Freeze and Shine does, but it is just as a generic hairspray. It's my go-to, and it's cheap, which is
Good.
awesome. Yeah,
Try Freeze and Shine and then tell me
yeah.
what you
I'm
think.
going to.
You would
It
like it.
sounds
Yeah.
okay. I believe you. I do believe you.
Yeah.
So, who would you like to hear on the podcast?
I wanted to ask questions like, what your audience are like, who are they most?
I know. Audience, who are you?
Like, was that
Who
like?
are you? They can be quite quiet, but I think generally, and I'm kind of guessing, but it is we have a lot of more American, and then second is UK, and then countries in Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, people listening, but we've got people all over the globe listening. And we have a lot of makeup artists, hairstylists. And I just realized recently when I went to an event that hair and makeup people who do editorial and red carpet and stuff have been listening as well, which is really exciting.
Hmm.
I had an actress of mine, I was speaking to her colorist, and he was just like, at the end of the conversation on the phone, he was just like, I don't mean to be weird, but you're Jamie Lee from the podcast, right? And I was just like, yeah. I was like, how do you know about that? And he's just like, oh my god, no, I totally listened to the Last Looks podcast. And I was like, what? And for some reason I just didn't think that a hair colorist would be listening to something about hair and makeup and film and television. So yeah, I mean, mainly hair and makeup artists who work in film and television. Yeah.
Okay. That's so sweet. Like he probably said, "Oh, it's somebody famous on my channel."
He's like, gosh, she
Yeah.
sounds so familiar. Oh, it must be her. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
Oh, good that you didn't well behave.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I believe that you probably have a more people that who wants to become designer or like supervisors and pursue their career in the films and TVs. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought, I think it's great to listen from the designers, but I thought that it might be interesting to hear from the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like possibly like people that who worked with the different designers, then they could give better advice for those of who's listening. So I was thinking that somebody like I have a friend called Emily Weston,
Mm-hmm.
who was I have to say that she was the best trainee I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Then we done lots of jobs together, and now she's very busy. She works for different designers, and she's very popular. And so I
Okay.
tried to get her any job that I could, but I think she's working for greatest designers, and so I think she can give you very good tips.
Yeah.
And she's
That
like
sounds awesome.
she has a great communication with AD, transport,
Mm.
productions, everyone. So if I send Emily, she gets everything done in a gracious moment. And also like everybody loves her. and
Yeah.
then so I think that somebody like her would be very good to hear what she
Yeah.
thinks, and because I think she worked with quite tough designers that gave her hard times, but I hope it's not me. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, but I think that's you learn by your mistakes, and then you learn from what people want. I mean, sometimes like you can work with somebody that's very easygoing, but some that you work with someone that you need to be very switched on. So Emily was always, if I want to ask something to Emily, everything was done before I asked her. She was always looking at the schedule. So I think that somebody like her would be too.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love it. And before we wrap it up, are you ready for a quick fire round of questions in 30 seconds?
Yeah, yeah.
I like that enthusiasm.
Do I need to sing a song or something? No.
No, you can if you want to,
No, I
but
don't
no.
want to.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah,
Would you rather work in rain or wind?
rain,
What's your favorite period?
20s.
If you won big in lotto, would you keep working?
Yes.
Where in the world would you love to work?
Just outside of my house.
Favorite season?
Spring.
Spring?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love spring too. Yay. Thank you so much for joining me today. I
Thank
just
you.
enjoyed talking to you so much, and I don't want to keep you any longer because I know that it's the end of a work day. And
No, that's okay. All right.
well, thanks
Great.
again so much.
Great talking to you,
And
Jamie.
yeah, you too.